Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Your life is not limited by your circumstances, your money, your background, or your connections. Your life is limited by one thing, and one thing only: your mindset. The way you think is either building your future or destroying it every single day without you even realizing it. And the problem is, most people are walking around with a mindset that's been programmed to fail from the moment you were born. People started placing limits on you. They told you what's realistic, what's possible, what's too risky, what's too hard. They didn't do it because they hate you. They did it because they're limited themselves. Weak people create weak beliefs, and then they pass those beliefs onto you like it's some kind of truth. So you grow up thinking success is rare, thinking greatness is for someone else, thinking you should play it safe. And that's where your life starts shrinking. You start saying things like, I can't do that, or that's not for me, or people like me don't make it. And you say it so many times that it becomes your reality. Not because it's true, but because you believe it's true. Your brain is a machine. It doesn't care what's real or fake. It just follows the instructions you give it. If you tell it you're weak, it will make you weak. If you tell it you're capable, it will find ways to make you capable. That's how powerful your mindset is. Think about it. Every single person who has ever done something extraordinary started with nothing but a belief. They didn't have guarantees. They didn't have certainty. They didn't have everyone supporting them. What they had was a mindset that refused to accept limits. And that's the difference between winners and losers. Winners don't have fewer problems. They just refuse to believe those problems can stop them, but you've been conditioned to hesitate. You've been trained to doubt yourself before you even try. You come up with excuses before you even take the first step. What if I fail? What will people say? What if I'm not good enough? Let me tell you something, those questions are the exact reason you're stuck. Because every time you ask them, you're reinforcing a mindset of fear instead of a mindset of power. And here's the brutal truth: failure is not what's holding you back. Your fear of failure is. Because failure doesn't actually destroy people, it teaches them. It sharpens them. It builds them. But your mindset has convinced you that failure is something to avoid at all costs, so you stay in your comfort zone. You stay small. You stay average. And then you wonder why your life doesn't change. You want to know what a powerful mindset looks like. It looks like someone who says, I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how long it takes. I will figure it out. That's it. No excuses, no hesitation, just a decision. Because once you truly decide something in your mind, everything else starts to align with that decision. Your actions change, your habits change, your energy changes, and eventually your results change, but most people never reach that point. They keep negotiating with themselves. They say, I'll try. They say, maybe. They say, let's see what happens. That's weak language. That's a weak mindset. And a weak mindset will always produce weak results. You cannot expect to build a strong life with a weak way of thinking. You need to understand that your brain is always listening to you. Every thought you repeat becomes a belief. Every belief becomes an action. Every action becomes your reality. So if your reality is not what you want, you don't fix your situation. First, you fix your mindset. Because your mindset is the blueprint of your life right now. There are two voices in your head. One is telling you to go for it, to push harder, to believe bigger. The other one is telling you to stay safe, to avoid risk, to doubt yourself. And every single day, you are choosing which voice to listen to. That choice is shaping your entire future. Weak people listen to the voice of doubt. Strong people listen to the voice of belief. It's that simple. There's no secret. There's no shortcut. There's just a decision. And the moment you decide that you're done limiting yourself, everything starts to change, because limits are not real. They're created. They're imagined. They're reinforced by repetition. And they can be destroyed the exact same way by changing the way you think and repeating it until it becomes your new reality. But that requires discipline. That requires awareness. That requires you to catch yourself every time you think small and replace it with something stronger. When your mind says, I can't, you say, I will when your mind says, it's too hard. You say, good when your mind says, what if I fail? You say, what if I win? That's how you reprogram yourself. Not once, not twice, but every single day until it becomes automatic. Because the truth is, confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build, and it starts with the way you think. You don't wake up one day magically believing in yourself. You train yourself to believe. You force yourself to think differently. You push yourself to act even when your mind is trying to hold you back. And over time, that new mindset becomes your default. And once that happens, once you truly believe that there are no limits except the ones you accept, everything changes. Problems become challenges. Fear becomes fuel. Doubt becomes irrelevant. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for approval. You stop caring about what people think, because you know that your mindset is stronger than any obstacle in your way. Most people will never understand this. They'll keep blaming the world. They'll keep making excuses. They'll keep living small lives because it's easier than facing the truth. The truth that they are the ones holding themselves back. But you're not like most people. You're here because something inside you knows you're capable of more. Something inside you is tired of being limited. Something inside you is ready to break out of that mental cage and take control. And it all starts with one decision: to stop believing the lies you've been told about yourself and start believing in your own potential. No matter how uncomfortable, no matter how unrealistic it may seem to others, no matter how many times you've failed before. Because the moment you truly take control of your mindset is the moment you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of your reality. Let me wake you up with something that might hit hard, but it's the truth you've been avoiding your entire life. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not some miracle opportunity, not luck, not timing. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you the life you've been dreaming about. And the longer you sit there waiting for that moment, the more time you waste, the more potential you lose. And the deeper you trap yourself in a life you don't even want. You've been conditioned to believe that help is coming, that one day things will just work out. That somehow, without you changing, without you stepping up, your life will magically improve. That's a lie. A comfortable lie, but still a lie. Because the world doesn't reward people who wait. The world rewards people who look around you. Really look. Every person who has something you want didn't get there by waiting for someone else to fix their problems. They got there because they made a decision, a brutal, uncomfortable, powerful decision that their life is their responsibility, fully, completely. No excuses, no blaming, no complaining, but most people can't handle that level of responsibility. It's easier to blame your situation. It's easier to say, I didn't have the right opportunities, or I wasn't born into the right family, or I didn't get lucky. It protects your ego. It gives you an excuse to stay where you are without feeling like it's your fault. But the truth doesn't care about your comfort. The truth is, every time you blame something outside of yourself, you give away your power. And once you give away your power, you lose control over your life. Because think about it, if your problems are caused by something outside of you, then how are you ever going to fix them? You're stuck waiting again, waiting for the world to change, waiting for people to treat you differently, waiting for conditions to be perfect. And while you're waiting, life keeps moving, time keeps passing. Opportunities come and go, and you're still standing in the same place, hoping for something that's never coming. That's why the most dangerous mindset you can have is the victim mindset. The belief that life is happening to you instead of being created by you. Because the moment you see yourself as a victim, you stop taking action. You start expecting sympathy instead of results. You start looking for reasons instead of solutions. And let me be very clear, nobody respects that. Nobody rewards that. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It responds to your actions. You want to change your life. Then take ownership of everything, even the things that aren't your fault. That's the level you need to operate at if you want to win. Because when you take full responsibility, something powerful happens. You stop waiting. You stop blaming. You stop making excuses. And you start acting. Ownership is power. Ownership is freedom. Ownership is the moment you realize that no matter what situation you're in, you have the ability to change it. Maybe not instantly, maybe not easily, but always through action. But action is scary. That's why most people avoid it. Because when you take responsibility, there's no one left to blame if things go wrong. It's all on you. Your success is on you. Your failure is on you. Your progress, your discipline, your consistency, all on you. And that level of pressure, most people run from it, but the people who embrace it, those are the ones who rise because they understand something others don't. They understand that pressure is a privilege. It means you're in control. It means your life is in your hands, not someone else's. It means you don't need permission to succeed. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You just need to act, and the moment you adopt that mindset, everything changes. You wake up differently. You think differently. You move differently. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? That question alone separates winners from everyone else, because life will hit you hard. It will throw problems at you that you didn't ask for, didn't deserve, and didn't expect. But again, nobody is coming to fix them for you. And if you sit there waiting for help, you will drown in those problems. Or you can stand up and say, this is mine. I will handle it. That's the shift. That's the moment everything begins to change. You don't need perfect conditions to take responsibility. You don't need everything figured out. You don't need confidence, motivation, or support. All you need is the decision that from this moment forward, you are in control of your life, no matter what, because the truth is, belief in yourself is meaningless without responsibility. You can sit there all day telling yourself, I believe I can do it. But if you're not taking ownership, if you're not putting in the work, if you're not stepping up when things get hard, then that belief is just empty words. Real self-belief is proven through action, through discipline, through showing up even when you don't feel like it, through doing what needs to be done without waiting for someone to tell you, push you, or save you. And here's where it gets even more real. The moment you truly accept that no one is coming to save you is the moment you stop being dependent on the world. You stop needing people to support you. You stop needing everything to go your way. You become self-sufficient. You become dangerous. Because now, nothing can stop you except yourself. And when you reach that level, when you fully own your life, you start to realize something incredible. You were never stuck. You were never limited. You were never powerless. You were just waiting for something that was never supposed to come. But now you're done waiting. Now you understand that if you want something, you go get it. If there's a problem, you solve it. If there's an obstacle, you break through it. No excuses, no delays, no dependence, because at the end of the day, this is your life, not theirs, not anyone else's. Yours, and every second you spend waiting for someone to save you is a second you're giving away control of that life. A second you're choosing comfort over growth. A second you're choosing weakness over strength, when in reality the power has always been in your hands, the responsibility has always been yours, and the only thing left is whether you finally decide to take it and become the person who no longer waits for change, but becomes the reason it happens. Let's destroy one of the biggest lies that's been holding you back your entire life, the idea that you need to feel confident before you take action. That's what you've been told, right? Wait until you're ready. Wait until you feel confident. Wait until the timing is perfect. And because of that advice, you've been stuck in the same place, waiting for a feeling that never comes. Because confidence does not come first. It never has. It never will. Confidence is the result of action, not the requirement for it. Think about it honestly. Every time you wanted to do something big, something uncomfortable, something that could actually change your life, what happened? You hesitated. You overthought. You doubted yourself. You told yourself you weren't ready yet. And then you waited. Days passed, weeks passed, months passed, and nothing changed. Not because you couldn't do it, but because you were waiting to feel something before doing something. And that is exactly why most people never move forward in life, because confidence is not something you sit around and develop in your mind. It's built through experience, through doing, through failing, through trying again. It's built when you take action despite feeling unprepared, despite feeling scared, despite feeling unsure. That's how it works. There is no other way. Look at anyone who is confident today. You think they started that way. You think they woke up one day fearless, unstoppable, ready to take on the world. No, they started exactly where you are right now. Doubting themselves, questioning everything, feeling like they weren't enough. The only difference is they acted anyway. They didn't wait for confidence. They created it. Every time you take action, you send a message to your brain. You tell it, I can handle this. Even if you struggle, even if you fail, even if it's messy and imperfect, you're proving to yourself that you're capable. And that proof builds confidence. Not thinking, not planning, not imagining. Doing, but you've been trapped in your head, overanalyzing everything, trying to make the perfect decision, trying to eliminate all risk, trying to guarantee success before you even begin. And that's impossible. There is no certainty. There is no perfect moment. There is only action or inaction, growth or stagnation. And right now, every time you choose an action, you're reinforcing doubt. You're telling yourself, I'm not ready. You're telling yourself, I can't do this. You're training your brain to stay small, to stay safe, to stay stuck. And the longer you do that, the harder it becomes to break out of it, because inaction doesn't just keep you where you are, it weakens you. It builds fear. It builds hesitation. It builds a habit of avoiding discomfort. And that habit will destroy your potential if you let it, but action does the opposite. Action builds strength. Action builds momentum. Action builds belief. Even the smallest step forward starts to change the way you see yourself. Because now, you're not just someone who thinks about doing things, you're someone who actually does them. And that shift is everything, because once you start taking action, something powerful happens. You realize that the things you were afraid of are not as big as you made them in your mind. You realize that failure is not the end of the world. You realize that you can adapt, adjust, and improve. And with every step, your confidence grows. Not because you're telling yourself you're confident, but because you're proving it to yourself through your actions. That's real confidence. Not fake words, not empty motivation. Real, earned belief in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. But here's where most people quit. They take a little action, they face a little resistance, they experience a little failure, and they stop. They think, maybe this isn't for me. They think, maybe I'm not good enough. And they go right back to waiting for confidence again, waiting for the right moment again, trapping themselves in the same cycle. What they don't understand is that resistance is part of the process. Failure is part of the process. Feeling uncomfortable is part of the process. You cannot build confidence without going through those things. It's impossible. Confidence is built in the moments when you don't feel like continuing, but you continue anyway. When things don't go your way, but you keep going anyway. When you doubt yourself, but you act anyway. That's where it comes from. So if you're sitting there waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Stop waiting, take the first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to happen, because once you move, everything starts to shift. Your mindset changes. Your energy changes. Your belief changes. And suddenly, what once felt impossible starts to feel achievable. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the next step, and then the next, and then the next. That's how confidence is built, step by step, action by action, proof by proof. Because at the end of the day, confidence is not something you find, it's something you create. And you create it by doing the things you're afraid to do, by stepping into discomfort, by facing challenges head on, by refusing to let fear control your decisions, and by proving to yourself over and over again that you are capable of more than you ever believed, that you are stronger than your doubts, that you are bigger than your fears, and that the only thing that has ever been standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to take action when it's uncomfortable, uncertain, and difficult, because that is where growth lives. That is where transformation happens. And that is where the version of you you've been waiting to become is built, through every single action you choose to take, even when everything inside you is telling you to stay where you are. So now you understand the truth that most people will never fully accept. Your mindset is your only limit. No one is coming to save you. And confidence was never something you were supposed to wait for. It was something you were meant to build through action. Everything you want in life is on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of doubt, on the other side of fear. But the barrier was never the world. It was never your past. It was never your circumstances. The real barrier was always your decisions in the moments when you had the chance to act but chose to hesitate instead. You don't need a perfect life to start. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You need one thing: a decision. A decision that you are done living below your potential. A decision that you are done waiting. A decision that you are done doubting yourself and ready to prove what you are capable of, not in theory, not in imagination, but in real action. Because the truth is, everything changes the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. The moment you stop asking, "Can I?" and start asking, "How will I?" The moment you stop hoping and start doing. That is where transformation begins. Life will never become easy. Challenges will not disappear. Doubt will not fully go away. But you will change. Your mindset will change. Your strength will change. Your ability to handle life will expand. And what once felt impossible will start to feel normal to you. And that version of you, the disciplined version, the focused version, the unshakable version, is not far away. It is not in some distant future. It is built in the choices you make right now, in this moment, and in every moment after this, when you decide to act instead of hesitate, to push instead of pause, to believe instead of doubt. Because at the end of it all, your life is not shaped by what you know, not by what you plan, but by what you do consistently when nobody is watching, when it's hard, when you don't feel like it, when everything inside you tries to pull you back into comfort. And if you keep choosing action over fear, discipline over excuses, belief over doubt, you will eventually reach a point where the life you once dreamed of is no longer a dream at all, but simply the result of the person you decided to become when you finally chose yourself over everything that was holding you back.